Dear anonymous callers, referencing the passage, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can pull it up in a minute here. 1 Corinthians 15:29, and she says, "Otherwise, what do people mean by being baptized on behalf of the dead? If the dead are not raised at all, why are people being baptized on their behalf?" I guess I don't understand that question. Maybe does that make sense to you?
I believe I'm picking up the gist of it. The baptism for the dead is one of those controversial issues, and perhaps if I explain what it actually means, it might help us a little bit. The verse says, "Now, if there is no resurrection, what will those do who are baptized for the dead? If the dead are not raised at all, why are people baptized for them?" Okay, so what is the baptism of the dead? First of all, let's recognize that this is a very obscure passage. It's an isolated passage. And the point that I'm making is that it's not a good idea to base any doctrine on that kind of passage, because this is the only place that it's even mentioned. You should always use the clear passages of Scripture to interpret the unclear ones. I want you to also notice here that it seems to be that this group is different from the Corinthians to whom Paul was writing. And I say that because we see a difference in pronouns. Paul says, "They and others, not we, baptize the dead." Now, throughout 1 Corinthians, Paul refers to the Corinthian believers and himself using first-person pronouns, we and you and I. And then when he's talking about the baptism for the dead, he switches to the third person, talking about they and them. So it seems to be a group that is distinct from Paul and the other Christians there. And it may be that this is some kind of a cultic group, some kind of a religious group that believes in a baptism for the dead. There are some who have suggested that the baptism of the dead is intended to baptize new believers to replenish the dead people who have already passed on. I mean, there's just all kind of controversy here. But the key thing I would say is that in as much as this is portrayed as a different group than Paul and the Corinthians, I don't think it's something that any of us need to even worry about.
All right.